What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And today we have John from Blueberry Protocol. They are revolutionizing the world of leverage yield farming. John, welcome to the show. Really nice to have you on here. And first, to get this whole show on the road, perhaps you could start a bit with some introductions and a bit about what Blueberry Protocol is all about.
Yeah, thank you for that, Casey. Definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here. And then a little bit of background for Blueberry. It really is trying to be able to provide the highest amount of leverage in a safe manner for all users fully on chain without having to trust third-party custodians or off-chain centralized entities.
Cool. So based on that, there are a lot of leverage yield farming projects that have been launching, especially after the whole first wave of DeFi. What inspired you to create the Blueberry protocols, and what gap in the market are you guys trying to fill?
Yeah, I think probably like when we first started building Blueberry, the biggest thing that we noticed was like there really was not that many good leverage tools, or they're very generalized to the point where you couldn't take that high of leverage, or at the same time, you had really no transparency into what positions that you're actually opening up. You didn't know the risks that were associated with it, and it was just very difficult to know making informed decisions. So that's kind of where the basis for Blueberry came, was just being able to say, how could we actually show the user what their net profit and loss might be, as well as saying how much leverage is that user actually taking when opening up a position.
Right, so you keep the user informed through transparency as well as an interface that helps them easily understand what they're doing, which I suppose is really important in DeFi these days, especially as now we're dealing with more and more complex products. So on that note, what measures are in place to minimize the risk for these yield farmers as well as the lenders on the platform?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we really do is be able to take more of an individual position approach instead of others that might take like a pooled approach, where we're saying that they are able to assess risk based on the pool of assets or the pool of strategies that they're offering. Instead, for us, everything is isolated on the position level for people that are opening up leverage positions. So we're able to fine tune it and be able to say, what is your borrow asset? What's your collateral that you're providing, to be able to go into that specific strategy, and then just be able to go further down that risk matrix and then just really fine tune it. And then this really allows lenders to be able to feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that we're, having customized leverage amounts per strategy, so that we're not offering too high of a level of leverage for a certain strategy, but then being able to offer it where it might make sense. So on something that's super liquid, for instance.
Cool. So I'm supposing there's no cross-collateralization as well across these various strategies. So basically, users' downside is capped within whatever strategy that they've chosen to run with whatever funds they choose to deploy. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, that'd be correct for this current version. So that's something that we've been experimenting with, is how to be able to enable cross margin. But for right now, it is very isolated to each of the positions that you create. So the collateral that you provide when opening up that position is only going to be used for that specific position, but then you can open up multiple different positions.
Nice. So I'm seeing how this could be beneficial to both experienced users who might want a bit more control over their downside risk, but also to new users, right? On that note, who are the ideal users of Blueberry in your opinion? And how would you cater to both passive and active DeFi users?
Yeah, so the ideal user, I'd say, is people that are trying to look for the best yield on chain without turning towards centralized exchanges. But then also, I think that profile is more of a DeFi power user for right now. And I would say that's more on the active side, where they want to be able to run complex DeFi strategies, but then be able to take leverage into that. And then for the passive lending side or passive user side, that's more for the lenders, people that just want to be able to park their capital and be able to earn a higher than market rate on their capital, because since they're enabling all these users to be able to take leverage, they should be able to get rewarded for that additional risk that lender or borrowers are taking on.
Cool. And I see here that you also have some other features that are going on aside from the lending as well as leverage yield farming features. There's also this lock drop feature that's on your page. That sounds pretty interesting. Now, what is that all about?
Yeah, so when we first kicked off the protocol, we had an initial lock drop. So that was to be able to bootstrap both sides of the marketplace, and then just be able to encourage both lenders and borrowers. So that ran for the first 30 days of the protocol being on, and there was elevated incentives for lenders during that time period.
Cool. And a bit more of a tricky question here, but what has been the response from your community so far? And, after the lock drop, did you face the same kind of challenges of retaining your community or rather liquidity on the platform itself?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of people that were probably just, mercenary capital coming in to farm the high APRs. But then I think that after that program ended, we still had pretty good retention of capital as well as users. And it's really gotten to the point where we've seen a lot more people wanting to take leverage. instead of being that lender.
Yeah, especially as everyone is chasing yields, right? Yeah, we'll see how that will still attract people coming into the app. We've got over 4 million in TVL, is that correct?
Yeah, roughly right now, that's where we're sitting at.
Cool. So now looking forward, what are Blueberry Protocol's future plans for growth and expansion in the next few years? Perhaps we have a roadmap or a vision or next version that you are developing in the background?
Yeah, exactly. Right now, we're actually working on the next version of Blueberry, which is targeted at making it a lot more flexible, way more gas efficient. Since we are on Ethereum mainnet right now, just being able to bring down that barrier where all users to be able to use their protocol and just making it a lot more efficient, gas friendly. And in the near term, really for us, it's being able to integrate all of the highest yields on chain, all the different partner protocols that might exist. So one that we're about to integrate right now is Pendle, and then also a couple of different LRT providers that are about to come out in the near future. And then I think more long term for us, it's going to be expanding to different chains where maybe Ethereum mainnet's not the place that has all the highest yields anymore, but then being able to also expand to the different L2s.
And I see that you're also exploring a lot of the main narratives moving into this crypto cycle. You have the RWA plays, you have the LST plays, LRT plays as well. So on a more personal level, where do you see the whole Web3 market going, and what kinds of narratives can we expect to take center stage in this coming crypto cycle?
Yeah, I think the next cycle is really just going to be able to have all interoperability between the different chains. So being able to extract that away for a majority of the users. So say that a person just opens up their wallet and then be able to open up a position or be able to earn yield from any of the chains without knowing that they're actually interacting with those various chains. I think it's probably going to be a big narrative going next. And then I think also just being able to enable speculation is probably going to be that next wave again, where you have all the different AMMs or different protocols about to drop their next version of their protocol later this fall. So I think that's probably going to be a huge catalyst for bringing back DeFi on chain.
Nice. I see that's coming along as well, especially as all of us working here in the DeFi space, carefully watching these trends right now. So the final question to round off this whole interview would be, what advice would you give to the new users who are going to come and use your platform, and maybe who are just starting out with DeFi and looking to take on some leverage, increase their yields, and increase their returns?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest advice is always ask questions. Like I feel like so many people are always shy about asking questions, but in reality, like every protocol, us included, just want to be able to help educate users and be able to have them be a little bit more informed. Then I think probably the second part is also just testing out different protocols and then just, trying it firsthand is always going to be the best education for people. So I think that is really what people should do.
Yeah, sounds like the journey that we all take when getting into DeFi in the first place, right? Go down the rabbit hole and explore the space, try out different apps, and end up where we are. Well, John, thanks for coming on today's show. That was really nice having you on here once again. Guys, that was John from Blueberry Protocol. If you found this video interesting and informative, do consider leaving a like and subscribing to this channel. And if you want to find out a bit more about leverage yield farming as well as Blueberry Protocol, links will be down in the description. Once again, John, thanks for coming on. And with all of that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.